Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Yoga for the Creative Soul book club today as we're carrying forth through chapter 7 in part 2. Part 2 is about exploring the 5 paths of yoga to connect to your expressive spirit, your authentic self. And the path that we've been exploring of late is the systematic path of Raja Yoga, the royal path of yoga, based on the instructions given in the Yoga Sutras. So this is a philosophy or an approach to life that fits well in the context of any religion or the absence of religion. You could think of them as ethical guidelines or lifestyle system. And very much over the last couple of months, we've been talking about the first 2 steps of this 8-step system. We'll summarize that a little bit more in a few minutes. And for today's expressive activity, go on a guided journey together and then express that with the intention of hearing the body, learning to listen a little bit more to those somatic cues and what our bodies are attempting to tell us in terms of our own mental health and personal growth. As we're gathered here together today with the intention of mental health and trauma recovery through yoga and expressive arts. We start every week with a nice check-in off camera and then get into the teaching, which you can see here in the Creative Soul group or on YouTube at any time to catch up or revisit the activities. You're welcome to pause the video if you're watching the recording, pause it whenever you want, replay or scrub through if there are things that aren't connecting with you. Take what makes sense and leave the rest behind. Yoga is a 5,000-year-old tradition that the intention is to give us support in connecting to the truth of ourselves and the truth of reality, uniting, harmonizing with that. And as we're gathering today from points around the continent, I wish to acknowledge our privilege as settlers on these lands. I myself am currently in the lands of the neutral people, the Anishnawbe and the Haudenosaunee, upon the Haldimand Tract and adjacent to the lands of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement, which brought peace. Today, we're going to get started right away with the activity. Just briefly, there were some things I wanted to share with you, actually, off camera. I'm not sure how much we do this on camera, but off camera, we talk a lot about what it's like to publish, whether it's articles or books, and how the people publishing your stuff take control of it. So the activity we're doing today it begins on page 101. And it spans several pages after that, so you can revisit it. And the activity is called Learning to Communicate with Your Body. I read that today and I thought, there's no way I wrote that. What a boring title. And sure enough, I looked at the original draft and I'd called this activity Body Talk, which my editor said, that's not specific enough. Do better. So I went back to what I wanted to call it today because that's my prerogative. Body Talk, because I think it's funny. In the interim, a band called The Struts have a song out called Body Talk. So that has now been stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But the idea is that our bodies are continually communicating with us. They're trying to let us know what we need. This can be physiological needs, but neurological needs will come through there, emotional needs, needs for connection, needs to express and understand. A lot of the time, the easiest way for us to get a sense of what is my body communicating is through those homeostatic cues. Am I satiated? Am I hungry? Do I need hydration? Is nature calling? Is it best for me to stretch? What's going to maintain that biological balance in the body? And being responsive to that. Somatically, the body is continually communicating with us in terms of our mental health recovery and maintenance. You can sense within yourself, is this best? Is this within my boundaries, or am I violating my boundaries? Where are my yeses and nos? And as we elaborate understanding those yeses and nos, we're able to connect to our intuitive sense. So you'll hear this in a lot of different realms now, and I want to acknowledge them. Intuitive recovery, right? What's going to be best for me as a person, as a healthy person. Intuitive substance use, which would tend to fit in a harm reduction model. Intuitive eating, intuitive resting, intuitive sexual activity and preferences. This can apply all over the place, but it starts with us developing that communicative relationship with our physical selves. So simply to start with being curious throughout the day. What do you need, body? I know you don't feel thirsty, but when we drink this glass of water, how do things feel after that? And over time, we'll develop trust in the cues, because the cues are subtle. Well, you'll feel more of that today, but it's not like your body's going, hey, it's really important that you eat more broccoli. It's not going to reach out in that way, but you might dream about broccoli, think about broccoli more, notice green colors when you walk into the room. Who's to say how your body communicates? But the more curious we are, the more we can read those cues and develop that intuition. So I am also suggesting, and what we know from neuroscience is that when we applaud ourselves, yay me, I did this thing and it felt great and I support my efforts, that the brain develops in the direction of those efforts and we're more likely to repeat them. So we touched on resistance today off camera, and you know how it feels better to do the thing than fight against doing the thing anyway. But when we do the thing, if we cheer ourselves on, we get some dopamine squirt in the brain, and we're more likely to proceed with the task the next time it comes around versus experience that resistance. This is something, again, that is a skill that can be built. And without further ado, let's get to our activity. So I'm asking you to find a comfortable position. This can be seated. The activity in the book, I believe, has you reclined, actually. If you fall asleep, then just watch the video again later. But in perhaps your corpse pose, or maybe starting with legs up a wall, if you want to get into a comfortable posture, close your eyes and start to settle into your breath. And just giving you a chance to do that, we often will move a little bit before settling into a relaxation posture. Again, intuitive body, we carry tension in our cells. Our muscular tension is a reflection of our mental emotional tension, is a reflection of our ability to respond to the body's needs. So to just stretch it out a little bit while you're down there on the floor, get yourself feeling good for your relaxation, go for it. And then as you settle into the relaxation posture, let your hands rest somewhere on your body. And off camera, some of us talked about chronic conditions that were occurring or reoccurring. Maybe you want to put your hands on that part of your body, if it's head or chest, if it's abdomen, or your joints that you can reach there with your hands. And then begin to settle into the breath, into the earth, and allow the hands to settle on the body. Now, leave you with that just for a second or two. I'll be out of frame, but I'm coming right back. So as you are breathing, as you are settling into your body and enjoying this time for yourself to settle into your body, to build this communication. Remember those first two steps of this system, non-harm and cultivating health, the restraints of harm, the observances of health. We're playing into the third step of this system now, which is called asana. Is very commonly thought of the postures, but remember that asana is about whole body health. So relaxing the body, listening to the body, caring for the body, these are all parts of asana as well. And as you are resting your hands upon the physical self, feel all that is no longer needed falling away. Falling away. So you might imagine draining tension out the toes and feet. You might imagine as you settle into that deep, deep pull of gravity, that gravity draws mental, physical, energetic impurities out of you, filters all that is not supportive of you, neutralizing it. And trusting that process to continue, your awareness moves to the hands as they're settled here on your body, feeling them soften even further, relaxing the fingertips, ease through the palms, through the back of the hands. And as those hands relax, they become somehow more open and receptive. So you can notice the ways that those hands are connected to the body. And through that receptivity of the hands, perhaps you can receive some communications from your physical self. Not trying to make anything happen, just noticing relaxation, noticing these points of contact. And we'll return to that again and again. Anytime the mind becomes busier, thought, analysis, doubt, distraction, just bring awareness back to the softening receptivity of the hands, to the points of contact with the body. And here, as you are focused on that connection, in whatever way it seems to appear to you, simply ask your body if it's willing to communicate with the hands. And oftentimes the response will come as a felt sense, an energy shift, an opening or a closing, a related image. Some very linear people might even receive a yes or a no, a literal yes or no from within themselves, but that would be a rare thing that happens. It's often a little more subtle, and we're just practicing inquiry. So if it felt a bit like a no, not right now, I'm not sure, you can also ask your body, what stands in the way of you wanting to share? Notice the feelings, the sense that follows. What stands in the way of you wanting to share? No matter what the response is, all the while, just staying with that contact of relaxed palms on body. If your hands are on a place of discomfort or concern, You can ask that part of the body to communicate with the hands. What else can you tell me? What do you want me to know? What are these symptoms asking for? And if you can find a way to let the question feel as if the hand, that open receptive hand, is holding the question. So it's not in your thinking mind, body to body, relaxed, receptive. Then the hand and that area of discomfort are connected through warmth, through caring, through receptivity. And you can remain receptive to whatever images, memories, hopes, felt sense come through as a response from the body. You can ask any follow-up questions that you wish, or simply return to that supportive connection of relaxed palms to physical self. Being sure to thank your body for its communication, for the space to relax and check in. You might ask your body, as we move into the expressive arts portion of our time, what medium, what modality do you want to express through today, body? And if you have lots of options, paper that you can shred and sculpt, paints that you can brush or even finger paint on, pencil crayons, of course, or markers or crayons, dance or music or puppet shows, singing, could be anything. But trusting the body, if possible, to choose the expressive modality very slowly, starting with the ease, the love in the hands. Give a little extra pressure, a little more secure contact between hand and body. And after that version of a self-hug, self-supportive touch, stretch your way out of the relaxation pose and take the time to record that felt intuitive sense, the beginnings or development of communication from the body. Don't think about this too much. Don't get trapped in analysis. Just go. And if an image came to you, go ahead and express that image, express the feeling. This can be very abstract. And if you feel stuck, or if you're judgmental about your expressive work, we recommend that you lead with the non-dominant hand. So for example, if you're drawing or writing, you would do that with your non-dominant hand, and typically that's a more somatic, a more intuitive expression, because even if we want it to do what we want it to do, it's not capable. It's just, for most of us who lack ambidexterity, we're not able to produce in the same way with a non-dominant hand. So that's a little tip to keep yourself out of your own way, is to switch to the non-dominant hand. If you're looking for a little more specific guidance, if there wasn't much that came to you through this practice, you might wind up expressing right now by asking the body how it wishes to express its held in pain. This is a bit of a sub-theme running through today, was an area of discomfort, a chronic condition or pain. So the relaxation could just be to attune to the body and then coming to the expressive arts from that attunement and asking, what do you want to express? What do you want me to know about this discomfort, about this pain? Now, as we often do with our expressive arts portion, you're encouraged to remain aware of your breath, quality of thought, and body sense while you're expressing. And today, let's be even more conscious of expressing through the body, how the hand wishes to move the implement, how the arm or shoulder or back carries through the expressive action. In what ways is the breath playing along with or supporting this expressive opportunity? We're attempting to unite with the body by giving it time and space to share its truth. And when those habits of analysis or judgment, planning or thinking come in there, we let them fall away into gravity again, coming home to the body and just encouraging. Thank you, hand, for moving the way you want to move on the page. Thank you, breath, for letting me know more about this. Thank you, eyes, for choosing these colors, these shapes, and letting the body lead the way. This is an activity that can be repeated time and again. You might decide for the next 3 or 4 weeks to incorporate it in your daily yoga practice, or however often you're practicing, a part of your regular practice, to continue to build that skill. And as I said earlier, to remain curious and to applaud yourself when you notice that you are being curious, you are checking in with your body. It doesn't take too long before we learn to decode and interpret these physical cues to continue to promote our health. Not only that, but once the body knows we're listening, it becomes more communicative in ways that do not involve discomfort. This isn't always the case, but some people report that they're more prone to physical symptoms and discomfort when they're listening less. The body has to speak louder, the body has to take more extreme measures to get one's attention. So that is sometimes a thing that's at play. I'm hoping you're feeling the goodness of the connection today. Before we sign off and do some sharing of our expressive work off camera, I invite anyone who might wish to share with the community at large to feel welcome. You don't have to talk about what it means or do any personal sharing. It is certainly enough just to show what came out of you so that we can take ownership for our own responses and notice what might resonate with us. Shared inspiration is a beautiful thing. All's quiet in the peanut gallery. So we'll wrap up the recording for today. There is a 7-week workshop coming up through May and June that will go into somatic sense a bit more, especially for people who have been told that they're highly sensitive or who identify as empaths or perhaps overly empathetic. We'll be looking at those somatic and energetic dynamics, what's going on in the brain and the body. Why does this happen to us? And how can we fortify ourselves so that we can be connected people, but not harmed or drained by the energies around us? So there'll be more details on that coming out shortly. But if you're interested, please feel welcome to reach out to me on social or comment below. I think it's important that part of our recovery journey is understanding those energy dynamics and how our body is responsive and interfacing with the external environment. So please do post your expressions to the group so that we can share inspiration and keep our thoughts and good vibes with you as you continue your journey. Thank you, everybody.